All right, meantime, is the prospect of a recession quickly disappearing? Bank of America certainly thinks so. Even JP Morgan Chase now getting on board with that, having changed forecasts this week to predict for Bank of America a soft landing. But on the other hand, Fitch downgraded its AAA rating for North America. So what sort of picture does this paint when it comes to President Biden's economic plan and those all-important approval ratings? Yahoo Finance's Rick Newman has more on the latest Bidenomics. Hi, Rick.
Hey guys, it's like for the last month or 6 weeks, every week a couple of forecasters improve their forecast and come out and say, yeah, that recession we thought was right around the corner. Nah, maybe it's not around the corner. And the one that got a lot of attention this week, of course, was Bank of America. They changed their view. They said, we're flipping from a mild recession scenario to a soft landing scenario. And look at what's happening. I mean, the jobs report today, actually quite good. That slowdown in hiring, it dropped from a pace of about 270,000 new jobs per month for the first 6 months of the year, down to about 187,000 jobs. But that's exactly what the Fed is trying to do. So that looks like the Fed's interest rate hikes are working. Inflation has fallen from 9% peak last summer to just 3% now. So things are going the right way. The big mystery at the White House is why is none of this improving outlook helping Joe Biden's approval rating? He's still at around 41%. He's seen no change really in his approval rating from a year ago to today, which is pretty weird given that inflation has come way down and we've got so many new jobs since then. So Biden has about a year to sort out this mystery and turn this around. But his mission number one as now a presidential candidate for 2024 is to get voters to give him some credit for an economy that is actually quite good.
Well, and we have seen the president stumping, right, nationally, going, touting some of the big commitments in terms of factories that have come through from his policy, whether it's the CHIPS Act or IRA. What does the polling say about how much of that message is sticking with voters who may be sort of in between?
Yeah, it's not for lack of effort. I mean, he's basically on a nationwide tour, and he will remain on a nationwide tour. And so will all of his deputies, cabinet secretaries, and so forth, bragging about everything that's going right in the economy. And it is just not getting through. So we may have seen a little bit of a breakthrough last week when consumer confidence improved. That's been a bit of a mystery itself, too, because consumer confidence has been absolutely terrible. I mean, it has been at recessionary levels and by some measurements, deep recessionary levels with an unemployment rate at 3.5%. I mean, that does not compute. So it's obviously all about inflation. So I think the problem for Biden is basically just getting consumers to feel like the inflation shock is over. I think even though the inflation rate is down to about 3%, I think a lot of people have inflation PTSD. I mean, it just shocked the daylights out of them, and they can't believe that we had food prices going up, rents going up. And by the way, those prices have not come back down. They have just stabilized. They're just going up by a little bit less. So one good thing for Biden is that we're once again seeing positive real income growth, which means that only for the last couple of months have incomes begun to grow by more than inflation. So consumers are finally starting to get ahead again. If they can do that for the next year, continually get ahead of inflation, maybe by this time next year, people will feel better about the incumbent president, but they certainly don't feel very good about him now.
Inflation will certainly be one to watch, especially we are starting to hear in some of the quarterly reports about some companies. We talked to Brooke DePalma about that earlier, having to pull back on all the prices because consumers are starting to be a little resistant to that. So we'll see how that factors into the economic picture. Rick Newman, thank you so much. Have a great weekend, Rick.